Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. And for a little look at, this was my International Scrapbooking Day album. It was quite popular, quite a few of you had a go at it. It's a really nice, simple, perfect for beginners. A nice little mix and match book. And I did have some photo mats in here for 6x4 photos. And you know, they're fine. They used up my scraps nicely. But I thought we'd have a little visit, have a little Cool Katz Quickies with my Mexican pocket tags coming out again. And we'll do a 6x4 photo mat, but we'll zhuzh it up a little bit and have a little bit more interest to them. So what we're going to be using for this one, for the 6x4 photos, I only need my largest two tags. My base tag and my mat and layer. So let's have a look. So what we get a tag shape, and we get this slightly smaller one. I need this tape for my black first. And a slightly smaller one so we can do a perfect mat for it. So let's have a look. I'm going to grab my black cardstock. Now with this being 6x4, it's going to be a portrait 6x4 one, which means I'm going to be using the long length of my cardstock. So I'm going to cut it down. My tag is 4.5 inches wide. So let's cut this at 4.5. And I'm going to stick it right to the top. So I'm using that straight bit right towards the top, like so. And using some low tack tape just to hold it in place while we go through the machine. So I'm using my Platinum 6 today because you don't need a large die cutting machine for this because it's just the width. Let me just move it sideways so you can see what's happening. So I'm going to place it down. If you've seen my extended tags video, it's the same process we're going to do. I want this lovely shape and I want some of the size, but I don't want it to be cut across the bottom. So as long as that piece doesn't go through the machine, it won't cut, which is what we want. So it's only partial way through. So you can see it's come through this side, but it hasn't gone in this side. And we'll go a little bit further. Still can see it, so let's bring it back. There we go. So when I take this off, there we go, you'll see. You can see the impression there. So when I fold it, it's cut, but this bit is still attached. So what I can just do, I can snip it off, or I can just tear it off to the outer sides. So that's where my die cut is. This was where I cut my cardstock at the start. Now I use my guillotine for this, but you can use your trimmer. I just like my guillotine because what I can do now, I can feel the edge of that tag against my blade there, and I can cut it down. I can do the same, just put it on the bottom this time. I can feel it here, and I can just trim it all the way down. Okay. And I've got my extended tag ready to go. So this top decorative part is going to be the flap of my 6x4 journal card. So I need to decide how big of a flap I want. So let's have a look. I'm thinking if I have a 2-inch, I could go down to 1/4. Let's have a little bit extra. Let's have a nice big flap. So my flap is going to be scored at 2.5. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter. It doesn't matter at the moment. So 2.5. So I'm going to fold it over. And you can see how it's coming together already. Now I've got my tag shape there. And now this is 4 1/4 inch wide. So that's why I chose those tags. So a 4-inch photo plus 1/4 inch, which means if I turn it around, I want this now to go to 6. And I've got a little pencil line here for 6 1/4, because it's one of those awkward ones which is on the join. 6 1/4. There we go. And that is your photo mat base done. So now we're going to do it now with some of the paper. So we've got this lovely paper. This is going to be nice for the base, because when you put your photo on, you just have that lovely green around the outside. So I'm going to cut this now at 6 1/8 by 4 1/8. So just slightly bigger than my 6 by 4 photo. So it's going to fit on there. So now we need to cut our mats for it. So this is now the one which is slightly smaller than what we used. And I'm going to cut it. I don't need to cut it all, because that's all I want to cover is that 2 1/2 inch piece. So as long as I've got, let's double check. Yeah, 2 1/2. As long as it's 2 1/2 up, I'll be okay. Let me check. I've got 2 1/2 then coming from the bottom. Plenty is 3 inches there. Right, so I'm going to send this now. I don't have to worry about a partial die cut this time. I can cut it all out. So it's just... So let's just cut it all. And then, whilst I've got my machine, remember, if you've got a directional paper like me, your other one, you want to bring the other direction. There we go. So I've got one up and one down. Now, I'm not too worried. I've still got the Graphic 45 name, because I'm going to be cutting it down anyway. Let's just rip that off. Okay. So that was a scrap piece. So don't need to worry too much about that. So let me just ink up the base one. That's going to go there. Then the one that faces up goes on the inside of my piece. So I want to cut this just a bit shorter. So there's my score line. You can see there. So I'm just going to go back a touch there. And that will now fit nicely inside there. Like so. And then this one is going to go on the front. Let me bring that in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm lining up on the black. I'm just going to mark it back a little bit so it's a little bit smaller. go. So we've got our inside, our front, and the inside. So I'm going to glue the front one on. And then I'm going to show you, if I bring the album in, these would work nicely landscape style. So if you had a pocket to go in, but this flap could flap around a bit too much for your liking. So what you can do is, I've got some 5mm magnets here. So I am going to just use some black tape, double-sided tape, whatever tape you want. I'm going to add a magnet onto mine so that the flap will sort of close onto my photo. So I'm doing it on the inside because if I put it on the outside, but it can lose strength. So the closer the two magnets are to each other, the better. The stronger they will click, and that noise is lovely when they do click. Cut another big piece. Drop this magnet on, flip it over, and there it is. And now we're just going to cover it. There's that one. And this way up. So you can feel that's where the magnet is. But that tape sort of smooths the magnet out so it's not a sharp circle. And there we go. The Mexican pocket tags. That's how many you get, a lot of dies in the set. Make perfect 6x4 photo mats. So I've done 3x4 ones using the die which has got a score line rather than a cut line on the bottom, but that is how you can use your largest one to make even bigger photo mats. So let's bring back my album. So we got the lovely little 6x4 one there, or you can put this one in and clunk. So if you've got a pocket, have I got a tall pocket here somewhere? I have. So if you've got a tall pocket like this, it'll clunk and hold over that because of the magnet. Well, that was a more interesting one, but now we've got that one instead with a little bit of shape. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and you know, you can use whatever dies you've got with a decorative edge to make that, but the Mexican ones were perfect with their 4 1/4 for 4-inch photos. So thank you for watching. If you do have a moment, please leave a comment in the description below. It does mean a lot. I do enjoy reading them, and it does help so much. And hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for more videos coming up, and you'll be notified about them. So thank you for watching my 6x4 photo mat Cool Katz Quickie. If you want to get your hands on the dies, have a look in the description below, and I'll link to the shop there, and also to my Facebook group and their Facebook groups as well, so you can join there for extra inspiration. Thanks for watching, and see you all again soon.